Hey everyone, Aaron here, and happy Thanksgiving. Today's Thanksgiving, it's a day of eating food, kind of relaxing, watching anime with, either family or just watching it by yourself if you kind of removing yourself from the family after being with them for the whole day, whatever. I love Thanksgiving because I get to spend time with my family, and I love my family. I also just kind of enjoy the tendencies of being a little sleepy because of all of the food you ate, especially turkey, which has that enzyme that makes you fall asleep. But I also think it's the best time to actually watch the top 10 most boring anime. And I'll tell you right now, let me get this right out of the way because I know a lot of people might get mad at me for saying, "Oh, this is bad. What are you talking?" I'm not saying any one of these shows, except for one of them, is bad per se. I'm just saying that a lot of these shows are very boring, and either they take too long to set up, or when they finally do set up, it's beyond the time. Like, oh wow, it took 30 episodes or 15 episodes to get to this point. That's a problem, and that's why per se I would never review them. I think only one of these has a review under an D, and that's one of the later ones, not the later ones, but I don't want to spoil it, but it is one of them in here. But most of them would get like a C, maybe one. I think one of them, if I look, would get a no. They're all C's around that. Anyways, let's get onto this list. All right. So number 10. Oh, by the way, no honorable mentions because I think that's kind of, hurtful if you put honorable mentions into a top 10 most boring anime. I mean, I leave that for like the top best stuff and all the crap. Anyways, though, let's go on. Number 10, InuYasha. Now, I know a lot of people might flip out for me saying InuYasha. And listen, it's not that it's a bad show. I watched this when I was young. I was 10 years old when the show came out, okay? That put that in perspective. And I did watch it again when I was older, see if I could understand, certain things. Because as a 10-year-old, you don't understand everything going on. You might pretend like you do, but you don't. But InuYasha is a show that, as good as it is toward the end and as good as it was in the beginning, has a lot of filler and unnecessary episodes and a lot of boring content. It's a show that when you're getting through like the first half of it, you're gonna notice that it slows down. It takes things a little too slow. It starts repeating stuff. It starts using the same kind of concepts, the same type of battles, the same issues keep popping up. And at one point, I remember when I was younger, I even thought it was a boring show, and I stopped watching it. And when I got older, I started watching it again and go, well, it's not a bad show. It's just I still agree with my younger self. It was boring. So yeah, it's not that it's a bad show by any means. It's a boring show. It has a lot of boring tendencies. Anyways, let's move on to number 9. 11 Eyes. Now, 11 Eyes on paper sounds amazing. It sounds like such a cool concept. An action adventure kind of. I don't want to say harem per se, but it does have harem elements to it. Where our main characters get transported at night to a place where they have to survive against horrible creatures and try to figure out what's going on with secret societies and such, and why they have certain powers. It sounds cool, but on paper, it's very, very dull. It's something that there's a lot of times where the show just hits these really dull moments of nothing happening, or very generic fights and stuff like that. And that's a problem. It's only 12 episodes long, plus I think an OVA episode, and that is a problem when I get that bored of a show. A show should not be that boring with 12 episodes, because think about that for a second. It's almost understandable for shows like 25 episodes, 26 episodes, or even 24, where if you get bored of it at one point, at the beginning especially, or then it gets better as the show progresses, it has time to recover and it has time to kind of build impact again. It's almost like a slow burn, and that's why I call them slow burns. 11 Eyes is a slow burn throughout the whole show, and that's a problem. It doesn't have any time to actually pick up, and when it does finally start picking up, the show's over, and that's it. That's the wrap. So yeah, it's not a horrible show, it's just very, very dull. Alright, let's go on to number 8, Desert Punk. Now, by now, my review should have come out for this. If not, I apologize, but I think it should be out by now. And I'll say Desert Punk is the worst show on this list. It is the show I gave an F to in my review, so definitely check that review out. Because again, I don't review too much anime, give Fs to too many things. I really don't. Even stuff when it's really bad, and it's considered really bad, I don't tend to give an F, because I usually tend to give it like a D at worst, or even a C. Desert Punk deserves an F because it's just so boring. It's one of those anime that I hit the select button on my PlayStation controller, because I watched all my DVDs and anime off that, and I was like, wow, this is boring. Please, is this over yet? Is this over? I binged watched the last 5 episodes just to get out of the way. I was so tired of this anime. Horrible anime, Very boring. Perfect if you want to just go to sleep on Thanksgiving. Alright, let's move on to number 7. Kimi ni do todoke. I apologize by the way if I butcher that name. I apologize, but it's a kind of hard, for me at least. It's kind of hard name to say, especially when you say it really fast. Kimi ni todoke is about a young girl who is in love with a guy, but lo and behold, she's hated by a lot of people at school because she looks like the girl from The Ring. She even has the same name, and it's kind of funny. It's a funny joke in the first 3 episodes. It's kind of, you feel sympathetic towards her as a main character because you're like, wow, I used to always hate being bullied, and I used to hate seeing people being bullied, and I used to try to intervene a lot, or just try to protect people. And I understand her plight as a main character. Like, wow, that sucks that she's being bullied and messed with. But by episode, I think like 15 or 16, when the show's almost over in the first, and I'm considered the second season as well in this. It's just the same jokes over and over again. At one point, because she's such an introvert as a character, you never feel too bad for her. I hate saying that, but there's a lot of times where you go, come on, you could be better than this. You could relax, stop doing this. This is obvious that you're being hated because of this reason. And it just comes off as a stupid show at one point and a stupid romance. And I hate saying that because I love romance, as you know. But this is a really dumb show. It's just really, really dull and boring. Oh. And it's a shame because it does have some nice tender moments, especially toward the middle point of the very end. But it's those moments that aren't enough to save it, if that makes any sense. Alright, let's move on to number 6. Aldnoah Zero. Oh god, this show. You can't see it, but right, I'll wipe my forehead with my hand because I'm like, honest to god, this show is something that I consider so boring. It's so meticulous. It's so generic. Now, is it a bad show? No, it's not. It has some good concepts about it. I love the animation. I love the robot designs. I think they're phenomenal. I think that the saving grace of this show is the mech battles and the mech designs. I really do. The main characters, though, you can all throw them out the window. Like, I would actually enjoy the show if they took out every main character, threw them out of like a void, and then had just the robots being piloted by voices. I'm being honest with you, I really would. And I remember this show when I was watching it. It took me, I think, 2 months to finish it. That was already at the point where it was already done. And it wasn't because I had no access to it. It was just because I just could not find the stamina to keep enduring with these characters, especially the main character, who I know he's supposed to be this kind of main character persona of having, being really cool and being really muted at the same time, being tactical. But he comes off just as a jerk. And he's so boring. He's like, he sucks the way out of anything animation wise. It's so bad. And all the other characters are very just generic and dull. They don't do anything for me. So yeah, I hate to say it, but Aldnoah Zero, while it's not horrible, it's pretty bad in terms of how it's presented. Alright, let's move on to number 5. Log Horizon. This really shouldn't be a surprise to a lot of people, actually. Especially the next 2. Well, next one of the next ones should not be a surprise to people what's going to be. Especially if you watch my reviews. Log Horizon is not a bad anime either. It's something I think I reviewed with a C. I can't remember exactly how I reviewed it, but it's a show that it too much delves into the concepts of MMORPGs. And one of the things I love about the Sword Art Online anime series, and it's one of the few things I love about it, is how it's action packed and it has those concepts of MMOs, but it's not constantly shoved down your face. It's more so a feeling of a real life scenario because it's a simulated real life scenario. Even DotHack has that perk once in a while. Log Horizon tries to be a real life scenario with MMO elements constantly. If you see my review of it, I'm beating a dead horse by saying this, but you have our main characters like Shiro and oh crap, I forgot her name, but you have the main characters constantly talking about what goes into an MMO, how an MMO works, what a raid is, what boss battles are, how health and stamina work, how you have to figure out what priorities a tank is used for. A lot of people know what MMOs are, and if you don't know what an MMO is, the first time you hear about it, I'm sufficient to say that most people that watch the show are at least watching it for entertainment and are not complete idiots. And I'll tell you right now that, they don't need to be repeated over and over again how a raid works. They talk about raids in the show maybe 3 or 4 times, and that's a problem. They don't need to do that. Logarize, again, is not a bad show. It's not horrible. It has some really good animation. I love the story for it, per se. And I do like some of the characters, but it's boring. It's going to put you to sleep. It's going to be one of those anime that you watch one episode of it, go, I'm going to watch the next one tomorrow or something like that. Alright, moving on. This one might give me some hate, but I can't, Tecna Lies. Listen, guys, if you hate me for this, I'm sorry. I'm being honest with you. I want you guys to take my honesty at face value. Tecna Lies is a cool kind of dystopian concept, almost like Fight Club. It's not a bad show. It's not by any means. Our main character is this tough, cool character who fights a lot for money, and he's dealing in a cybernetic world where people are getting things called Tecna Lies. I forgot exactly what it's called, but they actually get parts of their body removed to get cybernetics, and some people are just like pure cybernetics. And it's not a bad concept, and I love Tecna Lies' story. I really do. I think it's a phenomenal story, but it's just such a slow burn of a show that it's also like Aldnoah Zero in a lot of ways, in that it's just boring, and it never gets rid of that. And that's why it's so high up on this list, because as cool as the action is at times, and as nice as the animation and story are, this is a show that's just always boring. It's always very kind of mellow. It's kind of very laid back in the way it presents itself. And only the last few episodes are really action-packed, per se, in terms of story content and animation. It's a show that it's not, like, again, I think if I had to review this, I'm being honest with you, I'm not spoiling a review for it later on. If I had to review it, I would have to say it's a B-. And I know that sounds kind of crazy that this would even be on number 4 on this list and be on this list in general for a B-. But it's a boring show. It's a show that you have to know that, listen, it's going to be a slow burn throughout the whole thing. Steins Gate, for example, is a boring show in the first 4 episodes. Once it passes that, it becomes a phenomenal show. And that gets an A to me. But this is something that it's always going to be from the first episode on to the 20-something episode. It's going to be boring. It's going to be boring. It's going to be something that's tedious. You're going to watch it and go, wow, they're still doing this, huh? It's just that bad when it comes to that. Again, though, the story's phenomenal. The kind of character animation, the concepts, awesome. They really are. That's why it gets a B-. But it's just so boring that I honestly find it hard to recommend to people. I tell people, as much as I give it a high score, I say, hey, listen, just know that you're going into a series that's very, very boring and tedious. Alright, number 3. The top 3 here, folks. DotHack Sign. So I said this one shouldn't be that surprising to most people that have seen my review of this and know my DotHack rants. I won't go too far into it, but DotHack is boring, so especially Sign. It's just a lot of talking heads, a lot of moments of just downtime and people talking about what to do next. It's boring. It's very boring. I'm not gonna talk about it more because it's boring. Let's go on to number 2, Shattered Angels. Shattered Angels. Shattered Angels is, I don't know how to put it. It's why it's on number 2 on the list, because it's something I watched up to, I think, the 5th episode. I didn't finish the show. I'll tell you right now, I didn't finish it. Unlike all these other shows, I did not finish this. Actually, Tecna Lies, it took me a long time to finish Tecna Lies also, I think, in Aldnoah Zero, but I did finish those. With Shattered Angels, I didn't finish. And the reason I didn't finish Shattered Angels is because it's just boring as heck, man. Oh my god. I can't put that into words, guys, how boring it is. I wish I could have flashing images saying boring on the screen. If I was better at animation, I probably could do that, but I'm not. So I won't do it. But how about I just put it on the screen right now? I'll probably put up somewhere boring in big letters, boring. Alright, there we go. That I could do. But honest to God, it's a show that has mecha stuff, romance elements, and the main character is a female. And don't get me wrong, like I said before, I have no issue with the main character being a female, but she's so typical of a high school student in the concept of what she's playing as. She's so typical in her emotions, and this show steals from so many different kind of old fairy tales, like Cinderella and Snow White. It steals from a lot of those type of shows. And movies and books and such like that, but it's boring. Even talk about it bores me. I actually start getting tired talking about this. That's crazy. Wow. Shattered Angel is boring. That's the best way I can put it. It's something that you will watch and you will go, wow, why do I care? None of the fights are cool. None of the fights try to be that great. None of the romance elements are worth watching. And I tried getting the show, guys. I own the show. I bought it on sale for like $14, and I regret buying it for $14. That's worse than Desert Punk. But it's not gonna get an F. It's not gonna get like a C either. I'll tell you that much right now. It's bad. All right, and number 1, the most boring anime. Do you want to know what it is? I want to know what it is, right? Everyone's know. Okay. This is to me, by the way. This is my personal list. Remember that, guys. Maoyu. Now, if you haven't seen my review, this was like one of my old, going back to my first months of YouTubing review. And I'll say it right now, Maoyu is bad boring. Oh, God. You know, in many ways it tries to be like Spicy Wolf, but here's the difference between Spicy Wolf. Spicy Wolf, as boring as the concept might be, it's presented in a way with smart, intelligent humor and character conversations. The characters talk to one another very smartly, and they have a lot of intelligence behind them. They really do. Maoyu does not. Maoyu has a girl with big boobs who tries to be very smart, and she is very smart in the show, but to me she tries to be more so than anything else. It has a main hero who's dumb as bricks, and you know, I think in a lot of ways even the animation and kind of storytelling is just dumb. You know, there's a harem element in the show at one point, but it doesn't make sense. It just is thrown out there. It's very odd the way it's handled. It's just, if you've never seen my review for it, I'll tell you right now, go watch that. It's me explaining how garbage this show is. It really is. But anyways, guys, that's it for this. That's it for this video. Yeah, got to the end of it, right? Are you bored? If you're kind of bored, I hate to say it, if you're kind of bored, I kind of did my job, because you know these are the most boring anime. Talking about them, it's even to me, guys. Remember, I'm the one talking behind this video. It's hard because it's like, wow, I have to remember the most boring anime and then talk about it without falling asleep and then convey that to you guys. I'm tired. You're probably all tired. Have a happy Thanksgiving, guys. Probably the next video, like, you know, the next big top 10 or whatever list will come out probably Christmas or a little slightly before that. Anyways, guys, though, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good one, everyone. Bye.